It's a pleasure to be here in Germany. I was thinking about trying to sing my Udo Lindenberg songs that I remember from being at school near Hanover in the 1970s, but then thought I should spare you that infliction at the beginning of this talk. So it's very good to be here in Germany for the fifth annual Munich Cybersecurity Conference. Clearly, the very nature of this conference demonstrates the extent to which the digital revolution has transformed the world we live in. Digital connectivity has already transformed everything about our lives. It's broken down geographical and physical boundaries that were once a barrier to our global communication and collaboration. It's made us increasingly reliant upon new technologies. And could any of us imagine a life now without our smartphones, unless we are reading survivalist manuals and retreating into the mountains somewhere? It's become such an integral part, I think, of all our lives. From interacting with public services, to finding our way around cities that we don't know. I'm struck, I've just spent 3 years living in India. My daughter was born there. Her digital birth certificate was delivered in 10 minutes through a new digital government service. One example of the way in which this service delivery is transforming the way citizens interact with governments. As our digitally connected world has expanded at an extraordinary rate, so too has the scale of vulnerabilities and the frequency of attacks that we face. Thousands of public and private sector organizations worldwide are falling victim to ransomware attacks. Our supply chains are being compromised. Our critical national infrastructure continues to be a target for attack from nation states and cyber criminals. And we're seeing threats to our democracies from attempted outside interference. That democratic practice, which is something that I think we as Europeans hold so very dear. It's right in the face of these shared threats that we stand together as international partners and allies to confront, expose, and disrupt hostile or malicious activity. And you will have seen our attribution of a range of malicious cyber attacks to the work of Russian military intelligence. This builds upon a host of cyber attacks that we have attributed with partners, including the WannaCry incident, one of the most substantial to hit the UK in terms of scale and disruption, to North Korean actors. We must continue to affirm our shared vision for an open, peaceful, and secure digital world based on the rule of law and the norms of behavior. And one of the key ingredients in that this year will be renewed United Nations negotiations that will begin in the General Assembly this September, both through a UN group of government experts and through an open-ended working group of the General Assembly. And that process, I think, will be the next step in the international process of trying to define and consolidate a set of norms that all countries can subscribe to. Protecting our people and the systems that we rely on, and democracy itself, is an essential goal of governments. And that's why cybersecurity must remain a top priority, because it impacts both our national security, but also our economic prosperity. In the UK, we have really focused in recent years on developing a national cyber security strategy. And recognizing that market forces alone were not driving the step change required, the UK set out plans for a more active and comprehensive response through the National Cyber Security Strategy in 2016. In it, we set out ambitious proposals to take a more interventionist role to defend our people, to deter our adversaries, and develop our capabilities, both in government and beyond. And we did this to ensure that the UK remains the safest place to live and do business online. And one of the most visible elements of the strategy was the formation of a National Cyber Security Centre. And this brought together our best intelligence and technical expertise into a single world-leading authority. Supported by partners, the NCSC has undertaken some pioneering work in its first 2 years. And a key strand of this work has been the deployment of its active cyber defence programme. These measures aim to enhance the UK's national resilience by automatically protecting UK internet users from a vast majority of crude, high-volume cyber attacks that affect people's everyday lives, reducing a burden on individuals and small businesses. It's essentially automated cyber defense at scale. But we know that malicious cyber actors will continue to adapt their behavior in response. And it's vital that we continue revolutionizing our approach to keep pace with the threat. And that's why upskilling is such a key part of this in government and beyond. We've shifted our focus towards creating sustainable structural change. We've developed a comprehensive cyber security skills strategy that sets out proposals to nurture and inspire the next generation of cybersecurity professionals and entrepreneurs. Not only will this help us develop specialist talent, but it will also develop the cybersecurity profession to create clear career pathways, building a more diverse and inclusive workforce. And it provides a sustainable pipeline to take us to 2021 and beyond. And even within the Foreign Office itself, we are an institution of diplomats that are perhaps better known for our adeptness with words than numbers or big data. The fact that within my part of the Foreign Office, we now have behavioral scientists, data analysts, sentiment analysts, and people who can do large-end data work speaks to the early moves to develop capability even within the foreign ministry space to adopt and respond to the environment we're in. But to achieve this paradigm shift in our approach, we must bring about a shift in mindset across society as a whole. And that relies on the strength of the partnerships we create and our ability to demystify and, if you like, decode what cybersecurity actually is. While it's difficult to avoid headlines about attacks and breaches, doing something about it is still often seen as too technical or too difficult, or someone else's problem. And cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. We consider it vital that all organizations must embrace and embed cybersecurity from the boardroom down. This is no longer a technical issue. It is a grand strategic and policy issue for governments, for the private sector, and for civil society. And that's why we've targeted our efforts in the UK at driving long-term change by helping boards to better understand the risks they face and to invest appropriately. We must ensure that boardrooms provide active leadership to ensure cybersecurity is ingrained into organizational cultures and mindsets. But we can do more. And that's why the UK is also partnering with over 500 private sector organizations for our national Cyber Aware campaign to encourage citizens and business to take the really simple protective steps that can prevent the majority of high volume, low sophistication attacks. And at this halfway point in the delivery of our national cybersecurity strategy, we put in place many of the building blocks to transform the UK's cybersecurity and resilience. And these are demonstrating clear results. But we can never become complacent. Just as the threat from cybercriminals and nation states continues to evolve, so too must we continue to innovate and refocus our efforts to bring about a step change in our response. We want our citizens to reap the benefits of connected technologies. We also want to realize our ultimate ambition, to make all products and services secure by design. And if there's one kind of a banner heading that you will hear repeatedly, I think, from Britain as a stakeholder in this debate, it is this phrase, secure by design, trying to hardwire secure design into everything that we do. As the Internet of Things continues to expand, it can't be right that consumers are left to secure their own products. The challenge is to encourage manufacturers to help consumers by building protections into their design, so it's easy for consumers to ensure that their devices are secure as the homes that they live in. While this will take global cooperation to fix, we've developed a new code of practice for consumer internet-connected devices, such as smart home assistants and toys. Alongside other measures, such as consumer guidance on smart devices in the home, we're trying to shift the burden of security away from consumers. International collaboration is obviously a key part of this. The successes so far in delivering our national cybersecurity strategy have been driven by close partnership, working with the cybersecurity community in the UK and beyond. A continuation of that collaborative approach is crucial to any future success we may have. And we put our money where our mouth is on this. Not only do we work closely with like-minded states, whether in the European space or with other partners internationally, we are also investing some £30 million in building cyber capacity in other countries internationally. We've also invested in one of the lead centres for thinking about cybersecurity at Oxford University, and we support the Journal of Cyber Policy at Chatham House, one of Britain's leading think tanks, as part of, again, our commitment to encourage a debate as well as to encourage capacity building. We remain committed to working with international partners to develop and maintain our principles of a free, open, peaceful, and secure cyberspace. And we will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with international partners to call out harmful behavior that seeks to undermine the rules-based international system. And we welcome recent initiatives, including a Paris call for trust and security in cyberspace and the OECD Global Forum on Digital Security for Prosperity, which will help us meet our collective challenge to ensure that our digital economies are safe and secure. I hope I've been able to demonstrate today not just that we understand the scale of the challenge that we face, but that we're seeking to cultivate the right environment so that we can be at our most collaborative and agile in response. And I understand the private sector agility is one of the new buzzwords that animates meetings around the world. I think agility is something that we should be bringing to the policy and regulatory response in this space as well. As we face new challenges in the year ahead, we need to ensure that we remain focused on reaching across organizational, political, and geographical boundaries. Government is never going to be the sole source of good ideas in this space. It's going to be the private sector, it is going to be civil society, it is going to be clever, load-bearing conversations that cut across boundaries. And that, developing that whole of government and whole of society approach is key. To become more than the sum of our individual parts, so that we can continue to protect the economic and individual freedoms that make us stronger together. Thank you.